Hello there. I made a little script that takes your level background images or layers and uses them in your other levels um, as a background. So this level has this kind of stuff as a level background, and when I run the game, I want this level, this part of this level, I want to be visible back here. So you can see from one level to another level, or one room to another room. So these levels consist of what I call level tiles, which is the actual like level geometry, and then there are X amount of layers behind that that is kind of like just visual flavor. So this level has like this kind of weird cliff here, and then I have some detail layers on top of that, so I can add like this grass here and whatnot. So you can have basically any amount of these layers that you want. What matters is how you name them. In my case, I'm naming them with this kind of naming convention that tiles underscore BG, which is like background 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if I have more of them. In this level, you only have one like level background. So now I'm going to call these level backgrounds, and when I'm talking about world backgrounds, then I'm talking the other rooms level backgrounds that are visible in the active room. So it will make sense a lot more here when I just run the game. So I load the first level, and you can see these those cliffs in the background. So this is what I would call like a world background layer, because it's not really part of this level or this room, but it's actually another level or another room that's being viewed in the background. Oh, I have some blur here. And when I move to this level or this room, you can see that this is the cliff. Here it is. It's just like mirrored on x-axis. It's moved, and all the tiles have been mirrored. So I'm like looking it from kind of like this level is behind this hill. So when I'm looking at that hill from this side, it's mirrored, of course. So I move there, and I can see the previous level here, and it's also mirrored. Alright, so let's just turn off those blur effects. So how the script works, I have an object in my whatever room it is that I'm loading first. In my case it's room 1. That's where the game starts. I have this tile copy object in there that is persistent, and it's in its room start event I'm running create tile background script. Just yeah, so nothing else is running but that script. And in that script, I'm checking the room. I'm checking the target room is, or declaring a variable called target room, and that target room is the other room, so the inactive room. So if I'm in room 1, this target room would be room 2. This is a really janky way of doing it, but I only have 2 rooms, so I wanted to move forward quickly, so I just did it like this. Of course, if you have multiple rooms or some kind of other sort of logic that would be driving this system, you would have to come up with your own system here. Then the layer number is just how many of these level background layers I'm using in that target room. And this is the magic thingy here. So layer set target room. This is basically this is the function that goes into another room, checks and does things with layers in there, and then with layer reset target room you can move back to the actually active room in the game. So as the room start event launches, I go through this. Let's say that I'm in room 1. So here I'm switching to room 2. I'm sniffing out its background layers. I declare variables with information like the layer IDs, tilemap IDs, tilemap tile sets that they are using, X, Y, width, height, etc. And then, because I want to have, as the game runs, I want to have like these, but scaled as a scaled down version. I have another version of that tile set. So here's the normal tile set that I used in Room Editor to create those level backgrounds. They are 16 by 16 tiles. Then I have a copy of that, a version of that that's 8 by 8, so it's half the size. I've just resized this in a sprite, or the original tile set. I resized it to be half the resolution and import that image as an 8 by 8 tile set here. So here I'm switching to the 8 by 8 tile set. I'm using like naming convention here, so I get tile set get name. It will return ts grassy hills underscore 01, and then it will add underscore 1 to it. So we'll basically change into using this tile set. Of course, you could have you don't really need this, but in my case I want to scale down the tiles, so that's the way I'm doing it right now. Anyway, so then I reset back to the active room. Then I check if world background layer 0 in this case, because I'm assuming the layer number is still 0. It checks for that layer. It doesn't exist because I haven't created them in the room editor. It creates that world background layer. It's actually using the effect layers here to set the depth for that layer properly. So it's under these effect layers. It's just, you don't need to have that. And then it creates the tile map using that source tile set. Then it actually runs through. I enter this for loop where I switch back to that target room. So I'm switching back to the room where the tile map is that I want to copy. And here I'm just running through the tile map, copying the tiles. Here I'm doing the mirroring of the tile, so I get the mirror image in my world background. Then I reset back to the active room, because now I have the information. I could do this flipping actually after. I think I just can move it for the sake of consistency to here. So first I sniff out the original tiles. I move back to the active room. I flip the tile, and then I put the tile down into the tile map. And here I'm doing the I move the tile on x-axis to the other side. So I get the width of the tile map, and I minus the original position from the width. So if the position is like, let's say here it is 66 on x-axis, and the whole like the width of this tile set is like what, 80, let's say 86, and this is 66, so it takes 80 what I said, 86 minus 66 is 20, so it would end up here, which is like correct. And when it does like that for everything, you just like move all the tiles, and because they are mirrored, you will get the same image, but on this side and looking the other direction. That's optional, of course, but I need it in my project, so I wanted to try it out. And after that, I do an offset for the layer, because now it's been scaled down. I have to move it down on y-axis for it to sit nicely on top of the level geometry that I have here, which is this. So in my case, these rooms, like kind of like the sea level or ground level of each room is 34. You can see the y coordinate down here for this tile. So it's 34 on y, and in this room it's the same. It's 34. I have like this little hole here, so you can see how the world backgrounds are moved. So yeah, I do an offset, and this ground level is that y coordinate of that tile. So this is basically 34 times the scaled down version tile set tile height. So this is 8. So it's 34 times 8, and that will move the tile map down on y-axis. So it will sit as you would expect it to be. And I run the game again. Yeah, so you can see this is flush with the ground. I think in this level you can see it better. Oh yeah, I added some tiles. Well, anyway, it's sitting flush on this ground. I just added some tiles, basically like under here, so it will fill that void here in this level's geometry, so you don't like, it will look nicer this way. So yeah, just to make a point, I draw this beautiful arrow here and run the game. Oh, is it bugging out? Yeah, it was bugging out. Sometimes GameMaker bugs out. You have to hide and unhide a layer for the tiles to update. That's super annoying, and you can think that you're doing something, you're broken something, when you actually haven't. It's just like it's a bug. So yeah, you can see that the arrow is pointing to the right here, and here it's pointing to the left, because I'm looking at that level from other direction. Extremely powerful tool. And you can do it other way around too. You can take information from your active room, so from the room that you're currently in, and kind of like inject that information to other rooms or to other layers in other rooms. Or as in this case, you can sniff out information from other rooms, from inactive rooms layers to the active room. And this is really powerful, and of course depends on your use case, but in my case it's probably going to make those world background layers that I've used previously in my prototype. I will get rid of the whole system and write a new system that's running with tiles and some sprites too. You can do the same. You can do this stuff with sprite layers too. Of course, it doesn't have to be like tiles. So, for example, if I would have like some, let's say, sprite trees here in the background, I could do the same thing with those. So it doesn't have to be tiles. Alright, thanks. Take care. Have fun. Ask a question if you think I can answer it. Probably I can't, but anyway. See you later.